mouse. I don't have a name for him. Maybe you can email me and give me your suggestions on a name for him. But I do call him Library Mouse because he lives in here. And he's going to sit on his bookshelf and listen to the story. Okay? Let's put it over here. Stay there. Today's story is called Library Mouse. It doesn't look exactly like my mouse. This mouse is brown. My mouse is white. But it is about a mouse, and he does live in a library. So let's check it out. It's written by written and illustrated by Daniel Kirk. Thanks. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books. And he thought that life was very good indeed. Every day when the library was full of people walking up and down the aisles, studying, checking out books, and working on the computers, Sam was curled up in his little hole, sound asleep. Every night when the people went home and the room was dark and quiet, the library belonged to Sam. And every night Sam read, and he read, and he read. Sam read picture books and chapter books. He read biographies and poetry, cookbooks and sports books, fairy tales and ghost stories and mysteries by the dozen. Sam's mind was filled with facts and information and images of faraway places, and his imagination brimmed over with wonder and fantasy. One night, Sam decided that it was time he wrote a book of his own. Sam folded over some little squares of paper he took from the librarian's desk to make the pages, and then he found a pencil that had rolled underneath the shelf, and he began to write. Write what you know, Sam had read in a book about writing, so Sam wrote about being a mouse. He drew the pictures for his book by posing in his little mirror and then sketching what he saw. Sam worked very, very hard, and finally his first book was done. He called it Squeak, A Mouse's Life, and he wrote on the cover, Words and Pictures by Sam. He went to the autobiography section of the library, and he tucked his first book onto the shelf. And then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. The next afternoon, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a girl whose teacher had sent her to the library to do a book report. "I've never seen anything like this before," said the librarian, and she put Squeak, A Mouse's Life on her desk. Later, she showed it to the other librarians. Sam decided to write another book. It was called The Lonely Cheese, and working on the book made him feel very hungry. It was a good thing that he always found so many crumbs to eat by the trash basket in the hallway. When he had finished the illustrations, Sam scurried to the picture book section and proudly placed his latest book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. The next morning, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a little boy who was looking for a big book about trucks. "It's another book by Sam," said the librarian. Just who is this Sam, she thought to herself, and she put The Lonely Cheese on her desk. Later, she showed it to the children at story time. Sam decided to write a chapter book. It was called The Mystery of Mouse Mansion, and it gave Sam goosebumps when he wrote down the scary parts. The full moon was shining down through the windows of the darkened library when Sam crept over to the mystery section and sneakily placed his book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. The next day, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a teenager who was looking for a good creepy book to read before bed. "We've got to find out who this Sam is," said the librarian. "I'll leave a note on the bulletin board and tell him that I would like to meet our new author." She put The Mystery of Mouse Mansion on her desk, and later she showed it to the writing class that came in after school. That night, Sam found the note. It read, "Dear Sam, all of us at the library have been enjoying your books immensely. We are all wondering who this mysterious Sam really is. Whoever you are, you certainly have a lot of talent. Not everyone has it in them to write even a single book, let alone 3. We think it would be fun to have a Meet the Author Day with you as our special guest. The children would love to hear you read your books and share some of your secrets for writing. Yours truly, Mrs. Forrester, Head Librarian." Sam felt very nervous. He was happy that the children at the library liked his books. He was flattered that they wanted to meet him, but mice, as a rule, are very shy when it comes to meeting people. Sam could not understand why people thought that writing and making up stories was so hard. If only they would try, they might find out that writing was really lots of fun. Sam had an idea. He went to the librarian's desk and got some supplies. All night long he wrote and drew and snipped and folded and stapled his little rectangle of paper into mouse-sized books. In the morning, when the librarian opened up the children's room, there was a sheet of paper taped to the door. "Meet the author today," it read. A little girl was the first to see Sam's display all set up on the front table. "What is this?" she asked. There sat a tissue box with a pair of pencils taped to the sides and a banner stretched across the top. On the banner was written, "Meet the author," with an arrow pointing down. The girl bent over to look in the empty tissue box. "Oh," she said in surprise, for there at the bottom of the box lay Sam's little mirror. And in the mirror, the little girl saw her own face smiling up at her. "Me," she said. "An author?" Next to the mirror was a stack of the tiny blank books and a pile of pencils that Sam had sharpened with his little teeth. All that day, and for many more thereafter, people came to the little display to meet the author. Soon there was a whole shelf full of books written and illustrated by people who had never written a book before, telling stories that had never been told. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books. All that night, Sam sat in his hole thinking and thinking about the next book he would write. Would it be a mystery? An adventure? A funny book? A true story? There were so many stories to tell. Aha, he thought. I'll just have to write one of each. Sam picked up his pencil and got to work. That was Library Mouse, written and illustrated by Daniel Kirk. The story about Sam. Did you think of a name yet for my Mousie? Think of one, please. Help me. We don't just want to call him Library Mouse. Okay, well, I thought we'd just do a little exercise just like what Sam did. Now, he made little books. One way to make a little book is just to take your big piece of paper, regular size piece of paper, and fold it in half, you guys. Fold, fold, fold. Do. Crease it. Fold it again. Crease it. And you could have just a little book that has 2 pages. You could put your cover, just 2 little pictures. That would be an easy, simple book. But the way that he did it, Sam did it, was to take this big piece of paper, an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and cut it down the middle. So we have it into 2 pieces. And I did that for a lot of them. And then all I'm going to do is stack them up, fold them right down the middle, like that with my fingers, and then take a stapler. Easy peasy. You should have some paper. Hopefully you have paper at home. Hopefully you have a stapler. I'm just going to put 3 little staples in it. And now it's a little book that you can draw pictures on or write words on. And this has quite a lot of pages. This is a big one. I think Sam would like this book very much. Maybe I'll leave it and see if my Mousie comes up with anything good. Maybe he'll write a book about cheese. Or living in a library with so many books. I have a lot of books. Okay guys, I had fun. I liked the book. I hope you liked the book. I like my little Mousie. Help me name my Mousie. See you next time.